Cuyahoga County Council regular council meeting for Wednesday, September 28th is now called to order. Andrea, would you please call the roll?
Good afternoon, everyone. It is now 4:59 p.m. And as a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Ms. Baker. Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Sweeney. Mr. Tuma.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Gallagher is absent. Mr. Schron. Ms. Conwell.
Present.
Ms. Turner.
Here.
Ms. Stevens.
Present.
Ms. Simon. Council President Jones.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Andrea, has anyone signed in for public comment?
Yes, we do have public comment today. Alex Rubin.
Good evening. My name is Alex Rubin from District 10 in Cleveland Heights. On behalf of Clevelanders for Public Transit, I'm here to oppose the appointment of Chris Glassburn to the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority's Board of Trustees. To start, I want to highlight the history of this open seat. In 2016, this council created the Regional Transportation Advisory Subcommittee. Through its important work, the committee laid the groundwork for the appointment last year of Roberta Duarte to the RTA's Board of Trustees. Ms. Duarte was the first fixed route transit rider to serve on the board in living memory. But this seat is now vacant. Council must appoint someone who understands the struggles county residents face every day when they are stranded at a bus stop because their bus trip was canceled with no notice, or when their rapid breaks down in between stations because the train itself is 40 years old and held together with duct tape. In short, council must fill this seat on the GCRTA Board of Trustees with a public transit rider. To do anything else would be a step backwards. Clevelanders for Public Transit submitted a slate of qualified candidates to for this seat to the county in June. We are eager to meet with members of council to discuss these candidates and the needs of transit riders countywide. Thank you very much for your time.
Chris Martin.
Chris Martin, District 7. I am the chair of Clevelanders for Public Transit. I am also the member of the Cuyahoga County Democratic Party Central Committee for Cleveland Ward 3, Precinct E, and a member of the Executive Committee. I am here to speak against the appointment of Chris Glassburn to the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority Board of Trustees. The RTA Board needs the perspective of public transit riders. Riders know what it means when the bus is late or never comes at all, an increasingly frequent occurrence due to a national shortage of bus and train drivers. With this in mind, I want to thank County Council for confirming Roberta Duarte's appointment to the seat you are now being asked to fill. Ms. Duarte was part of a slate of board candidates recommended by Clevelanders for Public Transit, in large part because she regularly uses public transit. A quick anecdote. During one board meeting, RTA management was presenting a proposed contract for bus wrap advertising. Roberta asked whether riders would be able to see out the wrapped windows lest they miss the visual cues indicating when their stop was coming up. A simple question born out of a simple observation that comes from regularly riding the bus. And quite frankly, being annoyed when those wraps do not let riders clearly see the outside world. With poor communication practices plaguing RTA, trains that are well beyond their useful life, and buses that don't come nearly as often as they used to, it is imperative that riders be represented on the Board of Trustees. When Ms. Duarte stepped down from the board this year, Clevelanders for Public Transit was ready with a slate of candidates to replace her. Indeed, there was a plethora of public transit riders who would make excellent RTA trustees. Council should reject Mr. Glassburn's nomination, and the executive should submit a public transit rider for consideration.
Adam Bresnahan.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Adam Bresnahan. I'm here. Hey, how you doing? As a member also of Clevelanders for Public Transit. Well, my colleagues pretty much said, most of what I wanted to say. Clevelanders for Public Transit was established in 2016 as a public transit riders advocacy group. We've had a number of successes, including convincing former Cleveland Mayor Frank Jackson to open up Public Square to bus traffic, which has significantly sped up east-west bus traffic through downtown Cleveland. CBT was also a part of the next-gen system redesign that was introduced last year by RTA. As the others have said, we're here to question or oppose the appointment of Mr. Glassburn. I believe he's a city council member in North Olmsted. So yeah, we feel like it's pretty unlikely that he regularly rides the bus. We're here to encourage you to appoint somebody who does regularly ride the bus for all the aforementioned reasons. I have some pictures. Can I pass them out to the council members?
You can give them to the clerk.
Guess y'all can't see him, or nothing terrible. Well, it's just it's a picture of a window latch inside a bus. A photo that I happened to take on Sunday when I was riding the. Oh, great, you can see it. They're riding the 18 from West Boulevard, Cadell to Prosperity Social Club to meet up with some friends from out of town and have some Sunday evening drinks. As you can see, this is a window latch that has been apparently corroded by salt. I used to live in Florida. I know the salt air there would corrode things really bad. I know that our ocean doesn't have any salt in it here in Cleveland. So I just don't know how something like this gets in that kind of state. And I guess the reason that I brought this photo, I didn't even plan on. I didn't take it because I was planning on coming here. I decided to come here after I took it, actually. I just wanted to say that, this is the kind of things that only riders can see, right? Like, if you're not a transit rider, maybe you have some like abstract expertise or whatever experience in government, but if you don't ride transit, you're not going to see something like this. But this is really part of the everyday experience of being an a rider, is seeing our unfortunately decrepit infrastructure. And although we love RTA, of course, we want it to be better, and we don't want stuff like this. So please appoint somebody who's a regular transit rider who depends on RTA for their everyday life, because only they have the perspective to see things like this, or the bus wraps, or buses passing you by while you're waiting on them or not showing up at all. Thanks.
Chris Stocking.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name's Chris Stocking. I live in District 3. I'm also here to speak about the RTA appointment process. Today I got a new COVID booster shot, so I'm not feeling that great. I wasn't really planning on coming here. I had to take the train and a bus to get here, and I have to take the train and a bus to come back. So this is very important to me that I made it out here tonight. Throughout 2017, the Committee of the Whole Regional Transportation Advisory Subcommittee met. The subcommittee was chaired by Dale Miller and co-chaired by Yvonne Conwell, and they met every other week throughout that year. And the report included 10 recommendations. And some of these recommendations included property tax millage, or a 0.1% increase in the sales tax to replace lost revenue and maintain service levels. Also consider new revenue sources such as property tax, transportation district employer tax, parking tax, or transportation tax. The recommendations in this report have not been followed over 4 years later. Overall, RTA service has been cut over 30%, while fares have doubled the past 15 years. All these cuts happened before COVID-19. RTA and transit in Cuyahoga County needs new leaders that will stand for restoring and expanding transit funding. I ask that any RTA board member appointed by this body leads efforts for a transit levy or parking tax levy within the next 12 months. Riders have been stranded at the bus stop for too long. We need you to take action now. This body should ask what their appointment is going to do to support transit funding within the next 12 months, and they should vote no if they don't have a plan to increase transit funding within the next year. Review the Transit Subcommittee report. It's on your website. If you click the reports page, it's under year 2018. There are 10 recommendations at the beginning of the report that I have referenced, and none of these have been followed through with by County Council or their RTA board appointments for the past 4 years. I ask you to vote no if the RTA board candidate does not support transit funding within the next 12 months. Please ask this question, vet the candidates, and vote no accordingly if they do not support transit funding. Thank you for your time.
Marquez Brown.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marquise Brown. I am the Regional Director for AFSCME Ohio Council 8. We are the largest bargaining unit at the county, representing over 1,000 county employees in HHS. Tonight, you will vote on Resolution 2022-0340, a site letter agreement to modify the pay ranges of several classifications where the county has experienced a significant loss of employees. Specifically, in the last 2 years, the county and our union has lost over 230 employees, our members in these classifications. This is not just a Cuyahoga County issue, but it's statewide. This issue is so widespread that the state of Ohio is investing millions of additional dollars to help counties overcome this recruitment and retention challenges. In an effort to reduce the loss of these social services series workers and to improve the county's ability to recruit high-caliber employees for these more than 200 vacancies, the union and administration have come to some agreements on some new wage structures for these classifications. AFSCME and I urge you to vote yes on Resolution 2022-0340. Increasing these wages will make Cuyahoga County more competitive in attracting and retaining high-quality employees. As you can imagine, the work these members do does not come easy when you are tasked to provide services for some of the most vulnerable folks here in Cuyahoga County. We know that simply increasing wages will not be the sole factor in filling these hundreds of vacancies, but it's definitely a start, especially when you include the other tactics and plans that the administration and the union are working closely on and partner together with. 8 months ago, I came to County Council to speak on a fact-finding report for another one of our units. At that time, I shared with you that in the shortage of workers, employees are demanding more money, more flexibility, and that County Council, the county executive, and the future ones should start make a priority to increasing pay for all public workers to compete in this job market. Implementing incentives to not only recruit but retain and plan for the next round of contract negotiations was something that we hope is more than a 2% wage increase. This resolution is pivotal into a step forward in Cuyahoga County operating, thinking, and acting differently, and I guarantee it will be a model for other counties to follow. Again, we hope that you support this resolution. Thank you.
Molly Nagin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Molly Nagin, and I'm a sixth-generation resident of Cuyahoga County. I'm also a community organizer and healthcare navigator, where, I try to make a difference in people's lives every day, promoting anti-racism and working to ensure that marginalized communities are heard. I wanted to start with points of unity. I know that you all are also working every day for the public, for the people, and I really honor your work and your commitment to that. We have a lot in common politically, whether it's common sense gun reform or supporting public schools. I know there's a lot that we can come together on, including supporting Cheryl Stevens. I look forward to casting my ballot this November for you. Also, with a point of unity, I want to share a quote with you all. It says, "I am not one bit better than the meanest on earth. While there is a lower class, I am in it. While there is a criminal element, I am of it. While there is a soul in prison, I am not free." That quote was by Eugene Debs in 1918 at his 10-year sentencing for sedition, and that was because he opposed World War I. Just like in 1918, today there are so many laws that don't make any sense and are responsible for putting people in prison. And there's a lot of reason why people are in jail today who should not be. And I know that there's a lot that limits you all. You can't necessarily change a lot of those laws. But what you can do is opposing the moving of the county jail, and also making sure that the people who are incarcerated there have a voice in the decision-making over where they live. As far as I know, there hasn't been any surveying or inclusion of incarcerated people in the decision-making. And correct me if I'm wrong, maybe there's been some, but I know it's not been enough. And lastly, I just want to say that I understand that this is, like, the location of the jail is never been a problem. Like, the quality of it, yes, the infrastructure, yes, but the location is not the problem. And I know that there's been a lot of investment downtown. Just to name a few, there's been a new hotel, there's a new convention center. Sherwin-Williams is building a skyscraper. This whole revitalization of the flats, the area by Burke is being redone. I understand that there's a lot of economic incentive to sell that real estate and to sell it to some other corporation, but there's other ways to get money into our county, and I just want to encourage you all to think creatively. Thank you.
Larry Heller.
Hi, my name is Larry Heller. I'm with Northern Ohio Recovery Association, NORA. Many of you guys have seen me before, and I always talk about treatment versus punishment. Our Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections and our Cuyahoga County Corrections Center both have a common mission: to rehabilitate individuals and correct harmful behaviors. The building has nothing to do with that. It's the system, it's the attitude. We need to resurrect the system. The institutional and systemic issues are more important than the hardware, than the bricks and mortar. The institutional and systemic issues from top to bottom. We need to attract, train, and retain good people. There's a huge shortage right now. People don't want to work there. It's not a good place to work. And that's why we can't attract and retain good people there. There are people there who are trying to make it better. Last meeting, some of the employees showed up here. They wanted to make it better. They're crying for help from you. They shouldn't have to take their own time to come to a council meeting to ask for help. They should have been the first ones consulted. As someone else just said, there is no input from directly impacted people, whether employees, whether former offenders, whether families of current or former offenders. There's no input from the directly impacted. Now, without wanting to cheapen the phrase or detract from people with disabilities, I want to borrow their phrase and rephrase it, reuse it here. Nothing about us without us. There should be nothing about us without us, no matter what group or what situation we're talking about. Whether it's homeless shelters, we need the input from people who've been in them. Whether it's RTA, we need input from riders. And if it's a jail, we need input from people who have been inside it and from family members of people who have been inside it. We need that input. Why the sudden urgency? This building has been unsafe and uninhabitable for more than 20 years, and we've all known that. But no one cared enough to do anything until we got the media attention following a string of deaths. So there's suddenly all this urgency to create a new building, even though the building is not what caused any of the deaths. Why are all decisions being made by a small group of insiders? Why not include directly impacted individuals, employees, people who have been inside, and family members of current or former detainees? Also, there's going to be a new county executive soon. There's going to be an election in a few weeks. Both candidates publicly declared at a recent debate by the City Club, both candidates publicly declared they will oppose this and they will not build this. Why rush? Why not wait a few weeks? After 20 years of delays, why not wait a few weeks and let the person who will be tasked to oversee this for the next 6 years, let them have a say, let them have an input, at least hear from them. Thank you.
Rob Loftus.
Hi, my name is Rob Loftus. I live in Bay Village. Nan Baker is my council person. This is actually my third time commenting before council about the folly of building a new jail. And you might be wondering how many times I'm planning on asking you not to build a new jail. And the answer is as many as possible. A new building will not end the human rights abuses that occur at the jail. The proposed new building will in fact create new problems because it will be built on a contaminated site. There's benzene in the water and there is methane outgassing from the soil. In some locations, according to your consultant's report, the outgassed methane exceeds something called the lower explosive limit. I asked your consultants if this meant that a spark could cause an explosion, and they said yes, which was honest, at least. The new jail will also be ridiculously expensive. Cost estimates keep going up, and I think they're now getting up to $2 billion. If that money were spent on the community, for instance, investing in public transit, we wouldn't have as much crime and you wouldn't need to jail so many people. Finally, the money is going to be raised by a sales tax, which is super regressive. You are literally asking poor people to pay for the cages you plan to keep them in after failing to invest in the community. So I saw in the paper that the county and Metro Health settled with the family of one of the victims of the current jail to the tune of over $500,000. Officially, Larry Johnson died by suicide. I think he really died from medical neglect. Jail officials knew he had attempted self-harm and he had told them he was contemplating suicide. Instead of providing him with the mental health care he needed, jail officials put him in solitary confinement, a form of torture. The important thing to note here is that Larry Johnson did not die because he was incarcerated in an old building. He died from medical neglect. No doubt the grimness of the building worsened his mental health, but that factor pales in comparison to the effect of simply being incarcerated and in solitary. New concrete can only do so much to make a jail feel like anything other than a jail. I should add that Johnson was in jail for missing a court-ordered hearing, while out on bond. He had not been found guilty of any crime, and there was really no reason for him to be in jail to begin with. The evidence shows that the most effective way to get people to show up for court dates is a simple text message, which is, a lot cheaper than... Also, the crime he was...
Sir, thank you. Time is up.
Lou?
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Now we have heard some important things in the county we should all really make effort and pay attention to ensure nothing goes wrong. For example, we need a better public transit infrastructure or better homeless shelter buildings rather than a new jail, because it's still not guaranteed everybody's safe. Then we know the problem actually is from people, from the programming, from the culture, not really from the infrastructure, the hardware. For example, we need good training and good people working in these places. We need people who are attentive to the issues. For example, we need a board member for GCRTA who understands the writing experiences all writers experience every day. We need somebody who understands how hard it is to talk to their public defenders while they are in incarceration, or the family saying we have no way to reach our family loved ones in the incarcerations, that kind of situation. And also, no resources can come into the unhoused easily. For example, no bus pass to even take the public transit to go to their housing appointment, job appointment, any kind of interview. So these are the important things I think we should work on. We have ARPA funds, once in a lifetime opportunities. Should we really throw that all to the 750 million jail, which only would look good? But do we really want to promote a new county jail building as a landmark of Cuyahoga County? Or we want to promote that we have a real community in harmony. Every city inside of a county can all be prospered. Please think twice, think thrice. Actually, there's only one answer. We need all of you to watch out taxpayers' money and also make sure all the residents in this county will have a proper space, fair treatment to thrive. Otherwise, as I said before, we will only die together. Thank you.
That concludes the public comment portion for today's meeting.
All right, thank you, Andrea. Motion to excuse Councilman Michael Gallagher from today's meeting, if someone would like to make a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve our minutes as presented on our agenda for today.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. At this time, we'll have messages from our county executive.
Harmon.
It's your time. At this time, messages from our county executive.
Sorry. So if you want to visit somewhere overseas, you'd have to first fly to another U.S. airport like New York or Chicago, because you won't find a direct flight from Cleveland. That could easily add hours and stress to your trip. Today, we announced a major new development. Starting next May, Aer Lingus will fly directly between Cleveland and Dublin, 4 round-trip flights a week. Dublin itself is a great place to visit. You can stop at the Guinness Storehouse, but also this opens a gateway to the world with connections to 183 destinations in 37 countries. And while this is great for people to visit friends and families, it's very important for our local businesses. As I've talked with business owners over the years, I constantly hear that we need more flights generally, and especially to Europe. If we're going to attract new businesses and retain existing ones, we need to better connect Cleveland, and this is a big first step. I want to thank Council President Jones and Councilman Schran for coming to the announcement. Mr. Schran is a big advocate for this project. And I want to thank all of our partners in this effort, the State of Ohio, Jobs Ohio, Team NEO, Greater Cleveland Partnership, City of Cleveland, and Destination Cleveland. This is another example of how, when we come together, we can do great things. Thank you.
Right. This time, legislation introduced by council. Consideration of resolutions of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution 2022-0330, awarding a total sum not to exceed $225,000 to the West Shore Council of Governments for the West Shore Consolidated Dispatch Operational Plan from the District 1 ARPA Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Public Safety and Justice Affairs Committee.
Resolution 2022-0331, awarding a total sum not to exceed $250,000 to the Global Ambassadors Language Academy for the purpose of renovating a permanent school building located at 3349 West 125th Street from the District 3 Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Education, Environment, and Sustainability Committee.
Resolution 2022-0332, awarding a total sum not to exceed $100,000 to University Hospital's Cleveland Medical Center for the Pediatric Sexual Assault Nurse Examiners, also known as SANE program, from the District 3 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Health, Human Services, and Aging Committee.
Resolution 2022-0333, awarding a total sum not to exceed $100,000 to the City of Parma Heights for the Greenbrier Commons Facility Renovations Project from the District 3 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Public Works, Procurement, and Contracting Committee.
Resolution 2022-0334, awarding a total sum not to exceed $173,930 to the City of Lyndhurst for the purpose of purchasing snow removal equipment from the District 11 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Public Works, Procurement, and Contracting Committee.
Resolution 2022-0335, authorizing the Department of Public Works to utilize a total sum not to exceed $50,000 for the purpose of capital improvements at the Cuyahoga County Animal Shelter from the District 11 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will be referred to the Education, Environment, and Sustainability Committee.
Resolution 2022-0336, supporting an application for funding under the Clean Ohio Fund Green Space Conservation Program, available through the Ohio Public Works Commission on behalf of West Creek Conservancy for the conservation of ecologically significant areas in the Chippewa Creek Conservation Corridor in the city of Broadview Heights.
This item will be referred to the Education, Environment, and Sustainability Committee.
Resolution 2022-0337, supporting an application for funding under the Clean Ohio Fund Green Space Conservation Program, available through the Ohio Public Works Commission on behalf of Western Reserve Land Conservancy for the conservation of ecologically significant areas in the Sweetwater Preserve in the city of Brecksville.
This item will be referred to the Education, Environment, and Sustainability Committee. Committee reports and consideration of resolutions of council for second reading.
Resolution 2022-0197, awarding a total sum not to exceed $150,000 to the Village of Highland Hills for the Government Center Elevator Replacement Project from the District 9 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0258, awarding a total sum not to exceed $250,300 to the Ohio Aerospace Institute for the purpose of enabling Cuyahoga County businesses to compete globally through biomimicry-based innovation from the District 2 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will also move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0259, awarding a total sum not to exceed $225,000 to Baldwin Wallace University for the Northeast Ohio Flight Information Exchange Digital Infrastructure for Drone Services Project from the District 2 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0260, awarding a total sum not to exceed $50,000 to the Horizon Education Centers for startup expenses at the Shoreway Horizon Education Center from the District 3 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0261, awarding a total sum not to exceed $250,000 to the Cleveland Christian Home for the Cleveland Christian Home Capital Renovation Project from the District 3 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0262, awarding a total sum not to exceed $250,000 to the Eleanor B. Rainey Memorial Institute for the purpose of expanding the Pivot Center for Art, Dance, and Expression from the District 3 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0263, awarding a total sum not to exceed $25,000 to the Denison Avenue United Church of Christ for the purpose of making capital repairs at 9900 Denison Avenue from the District 3 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will also move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0264, awarding a total sum not to exceed $250,000 to the Centers for Families and Children and Circle Health Services for the purpose of facility expansion at the Centers and Circle Health Services at Gordon Square from the District 3 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0265, awarding a total sum not to exceed $50,000 to the Sokol Greater Cleveland Gymnastic and Educational Organization, Inc. for capital improvements at Bohemian National Hall, Czech Cultural Center for the District 3 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0266, awarding a total sum not to exceed $75,000 to the Cleveland National Air Show, Inc. for general operations from the District 3 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0267, awarding a total sum not to exceed $250,000 to the Union Miles Development Corporation for the construction of the Walt Collins Veteran Housing and Service Center for the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0268, authorizing the Department of Public Works to utilize a total sum not to exceed $787,748 for the purpose of rebuilding Garfield Boulevard and constructing a connecting trail in the city of Garfield Heights from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0269, authorizing the Department of Public Works to utilize a total sum not to exceed $250,000 for the purpose of the Grant Avenue Pavement Repair and Resurfacing Project in the village of Cuyahoga Heights from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0272, awarding a total sum not to exceed $140,000 to the City of Maple Heights for the installation of an emergency generator at the Maple Heights Senior Center from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0273, awarding a total sum not to exceed $480,000 to the City of Maple Heights for the Fire Station Number 1 roof repair project from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0274, awarding a total sum not to exceed $80,000 to the City of Maple Heights for the Fire Station Number 2 roof repair project from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0275, awarding a total sum not to exceed $50,000 to the City of Maple Heights for the Police Department Locker Room Expansion Project from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0276, awarding a total sum not to exceed $250,000 to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Ohio for the Broadway Kitchen and Security Improvements Project from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0277, awarding a total sum not to exceed $250,000 to Burton Bell Car Development, Inc. for the Arbor Park Place redevelopment project from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0278, awarding a total sum not to exceed $400,000 to the AIDS Task Force of Greater Cleveland for the Evolution Behavioral Health Program from the District 10 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0279, awarding a total sum not to exceed $120,755 to the Village of Bracknell for the Eddy Road Rehabilitation Project from the District 10 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0280, awarding a total sum not to exceed $123,235.54 to the Village of Bracknell for the purpose of purchasing two new police vehicles from the District 10 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0281, awarding a total sum not to exceed $120,000 to Waterloo Arts for Phase 2 of the Green Roof and Alley Renovation Project from the District 10 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0282, awarding a total sum not to exceed $250,000 to Family Connections of Northeast Ohio for the purpose of engaging families and strengthening literacy in kindergarten students from the District 10 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0283, awarding a total sum not to exceed $200,000 to the Literacy Cooperative for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library from the District 10 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0284, awarding a total sum not to exceed $275,000 to Front Exhibition Company for the Cleveland Triennial for Contemporary Art from the District 10 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0285, awarding a total sum not to exceed $47,280.43 to the East Cleveland Domestic Violence Program for the purpose of supporting operational expenses from the District 10 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0286, awarding a total sum not to exceed $25,000 to the Collective Arts Network for the Cannes Triennial Regional Art Exhibition from the District 10 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0287, awarding a total sum not to exceed $2 million to the Cleveland Metro Parks for the restoration of Forest Hills Park from the District 10 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0288, awarding a total sum not to exceed $500,000 to the City of Cleveland Heights for the Security Camera Network Replacement and Expansion Project from the District 10 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0289, awarding a total sum not to exceed $12,000 to the Cuyahoga County Land Reutilization Corporation for demolition of the cottage on Greenwood Farm Community Park in the City of Richmond Heights from the District 11 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0290, awarding a total sum not to exceed $12,000 to the Cuyahoga County Land Reutilization Corporation for demolition of 422 Richmond Road in the City of Richmond Heights from the District 11 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0291, awarding a total sum not to exceed $100,000 to the City of Richmond Heights for the purpose of installing an emergency generator at Richmond Heights City Hall from the District 11 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0292, awarding a total sum not to exceed $230,000 to the City of Richmond Heights for the replacement of the Richmond Heights Division of Fire Ambulance from the District 11 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0293, awarding a total sum not to exceed $400,000 to the City of South Euclid for the South Belvoir Boulevard Resurfacing Project from the District 11 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0304, awarding a total sum not to exceed $307,531 to the City of North Olmsted for the North Olmsted Recreation Indoor Field Turf Project from the District 1 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0305, awarding a total sum not to exceed $892,469 to the City of North Olmsted for the North Olmsted School Building Demolition and Critical Infrastructure Project from the District 1 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0306, awarding a total sum not to exceed $152,662 to the Village of Brooklyn Heights for the Community Services Bus Replacement Project from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0307, awarding a total sum not to exceed $97,000 to the Village of Brooklyn Heights for the Spring Road Reconstruction Project from the District 8 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0308, awarding a total sum not to exceed $218,526 to the Harvard Community Services Center for the purpose of capital improvements, renovations, and replacements and program gap funding from the District 9 ARPA Community Grant Fund.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0309, awarding a total sum not to exceed $2 million to Cleveland Neighborhood Progress for the Shaker Square project from the Districts 7, 8, 9, 10 ARPA Community Grant Funds, and the general fund made available by the American Rescue Plan Act revenue replacement provision.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption. All right. Committee report and consideration of a resolution of council for second reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved. Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor of suspending the rules say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, the rules are suspended.
Resolution 2022-0257, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County Non-Bargoning Classification Plan.
Motion to adopt. Thank you. This resolution was heard in the Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee on Tuesday, September 20th, 2022. Albert Bouchahine presented a new classification for a supervisor of payroll in the Fiscal Department and 2 routine changes, one for the manager of HHS training, correcting an error in previous classifications, and the second request was made related to changes to the essential job functions, language and formatting requirements to the manager of witness victim services. The committee voted unanimously to approve this legislation for second reading adoption under suspension of the rules. I ask for your support of this resolution.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Legislation introduced by executive. Consideration of resolutions for first reading adoption under suspension of rules. Again, can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved. Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0338, amending the 2022-2023 Biennial Operating Budget for 2022 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations from the general fund and other funding sources for appropriation transfers and cash transfers.
Move to adopt.
Second.
And move to substitute.
At this moment, Joe, if you have any discussion on the motion first.
Okay, we'll do the overall motion first. This is the regular fiscal agenda of budget amendments. The answers to our questions to OBM are on your desks. Notable items include the following: $774,433 to appropriate 2 grants received by the Soil and Water Conservation District from the Ohio EPA and the Northeast Regional Sewer District for river restoration projects. $1,146,230 in appropriations for ancillary election equipment to complement the $9.5 million funded by the state for new voting equipment, and $80,000 in appropriations for legal contracts, $60,000 in connection with the purchase of a site for the new jail, and $20,000 for consultation on the sales tax extension. And I would like to make a motion to substitute at this time.
All right.
Second.
And the substitute amends the fiscal agenda by removing item K for further consideration. That item adds $2.7 million in IT appropriations. After the substitute is acted on, I would recommend passage on first reading suspension as substituted.
All right, all those in favor of accepting the proposed amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, ayes have it. Now, all those in favor of adopting the resolution on its merits as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. We'll refer the deleted item K from section 1 to the Finance and Budgeting Committee.
Resolution 2022-0339 has been held at the request of the prosecutor's office.
Okay.
Resolution 2022-0340, approving a side letter to the July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2023 collective bargaining agreement between Cuyahoga County and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, Ohio Council 8, Local 1746 AFL-CIO, Health and Human Services Unit, to modify Article 78 wages.
Move to adopt.
This item was previously discussed in the executive session, and I ask for my colleagues' support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I have my name added. My name as well.
I'm sorry, could you say that again? I got Ms.
I'm an
Simon,
aye, and I want to add my name.
and I got Ms. Conwell.
Please add my name too, please.
And
Thank you.
Sweeney.
Tilma.
Turner.
Ann Miller.
And add my name as well, please, Andrea.
Duly noted.
All right. Let's do this again. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution is adopted. Consideration of resolutions for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution 2022-0341, confirming the county executive's appointment of Chris Glassburn to serve on the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority Board of Trustees for the unexpired term ending April 30th, 2024.
This item will be referred to the Human Resources, Appointments, and Equity Committee.
Resolution 2022-0342, amending the 2022-2023 Biennial Operating Budget for 2022 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations from the general fund for appropriation transfers and cash transfers.
This item will be referred to the Finance and Budgeting Committee.
Mr. President,
Councilman.
I would like to ask that my name be added as a sponsor on this item.
To item Resolution 342.
342, yes.
Okay, all right.
Resolution 2022-0343, accepting the revised rates as determined by the Budget Commission, authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county fiscal officer.
This item will be referred to the Finance and Budgeting Committee.
Resolution 2022-0344, making an award on requisition 7934 to Patrick Engineering, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $759,926 for engineering services for the replacement of Shaft Road Bridge number 0289 over the West Creek in the City of Independence, effective upon contract signature of all parties through October 31st, 2025.
This item will be referred to the Public Works, Procurement, and Contracting Committee.
Resolution 2022-0345, awarding a total sum not to exceed $825,000 to Team Neo as fiscal agent for 3 years of a partial revenue guarantee to induce Aer Lingus to start and maintain regular nonstop service from Cleveland, Ohio to the Republic of Ireland for 3 years within the anticipated period, within the anticipated funding period starting January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2026.
All right. And as our county executive mentioned earlier today, he and I participated with the City of Cleveland in a press announcement in bringing Aer Lingus to Cleveland, direct flights from Ireland to Cleveland, which certainly will be an economic, will help with our economic competitiveness and raise the profile of our community, again, around the world. So, again, this item we will refer to the Economic Development Committee.
Can you add my name, Mr. Chairman?
And let's add Councilman Sweeney's name.
Thank you.
And my name as well.
Duly noted. Resolution 2022-0346, authorizing an agreement with City of Lakewood in the amount not to exceed $609,459 to provide various emergency rental assistance services to income-eligible tenants in connection with the Emergency Rental Assistance 1 program for the period October 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022.
This item will be referred to the Community Development Committee.
Mr. President,
Yes.
please add my name. Thank you.
Let's add Councilman's name.
Resolution 2022-0347, authorizing an amendment to a master contract with various providers for short-term emergency child care for children in the county's custody for the period September 1st, 2022 through August 31st, 2023, to extend the time period to July 31st, 2024, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $12,750,000.
This item will be referred to the Health, Human Services, and Aging Committee. Committee reports and consideration of resolutions for second reading.
Resolution 2022-0302, authorizing a grant award to Growth Opportunity Partners, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $1 million to support the development of renewable energy resources in underserved communities through a low-interest loan program commencing upon contract signature of all parties through December 31st, 2024.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0303, authorizing a grant award to College Now Greater Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $2,500,000 for the administration and management of debt repayment scholarships and completion scholarships to eligible post-secondary students in connection with the Cuyahoga County Completion Scholarship Program, commencing upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 2 years.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0317, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires the rehabilitation of Boston Road Bridge number 0745 over the East Branch of the Rocky River in the city of Broadview Heights. Total estimated project cost, $1,700,000, finding that special assessments will neither be levied nor collected to pay for any part of the county's costs of said improvement.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0318, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires the elimination of Chagrin River Road, bridge number 02.40 over Deer Lick Creek in the village of Bentleyville. Total estimated project cost, $2,650,000, finding that special assessments will neither be levied nor collected to pay for any part of the county's costs of said improvement.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0322, authorizing a grant award to Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District in the amount not to exceed $1 million to support the planning, design, and construction of green infrastructure control measures within the combined sewer system wastewater service area of Cuyahoga County, commencing upon the agreement signature of all parties through December 31st, 2026.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0324, authorizing a state contract with Woolpert, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $553,305.86 for the purchase of aerial imagery acquisition, orthoimagery, processing, and countywide building outlines in connection with the Ohio State Imagery Program for the period January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption.
Resolution 2022-0326, authorizing amendments to various contracts with Manatron, Inc., doing business as Aumentum Technologies for support and maintenance for various Manatron systems for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2023, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $704,336 for the following providers. Contract number 2411 in the amount not to exceed $142,986 for Gamma Sigma System, and contract number 24 in the amount not to exceed $561,350 for the visual property tax system.
This item will move to the October 11th council agenda for consideration for third reading adoption. Committee reports in consideration of resolutions for second reading adoption under suspension of rules. Can I have a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved. Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Resolution 2022-0295, confirming the county executive's reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga County Citizens Advisory Council on Equity for the term July 15th, 2022 through July 14th, 2025 for the following individuals: the Honorable Annette M. Blackwell, Mayor, Ken Chalker, and Habiba R. Grimes.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Thank you. This resolution was heard in the Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee on Tuesday, September 20th, 2022. Laurel Roach recommended the reappointment of Mayor Annette Blackwell, Kenneth Chalker, and Habiba R. Grimes to serve on the Cuyahoga County Citizen Advisory Council on Equity for the term ending 7/14/2025. All three recommendations bring a vast background of knowledge and experience, and the committee unanimously approved to support their reappointments for second reading adoption under suspension of the rules. I ask for your support of this resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
President, please add my name to this legislation.
Duly noted. Thank you. Resolution 2022-0298, declaring that public convenience and welfare requires the resurfacing of various roadways in various municipalities in connection with the 2023-2024 50/50 resurfacing program. Total estimated project cost is $5,120,322.50, items A through V.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, on September 21st, 2022, David Ray from County Engineering came in to discuss this legislation, whereby which there are 22 separate projects in various municipalities. As part of the 50/50 program, and the county will fund half of the project up to a maximum of $250,000 out of that program. It's a very good program. And I would ask for my colleagues to move forward on pushing this legislation through on second reading suspension. Thank you.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, the resolution is adopted.
Resolution 2022-0299, authorizing an amendment to contract number 712, formerly contract number CE 1877 with Poly Inc. for lease of space at the West Side Regional Probation Office, located at 5361 Pearl Road in Parma, by the Cuyahoga County Juvenile Court Probation Services Division as a satellite operations office for the period September 1st, 2010 through August 31st, 2022, to extend the time period to August 31st, 2027, to modify the contract terms to include building improvements required of lessor effective upon contract signature of all parties, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $274,500.
Motion to adopt.
Second, Conwell.
Mr. President, on September 21st, 2022, Mr. John Myers of Public Works came before a committee to discuss this contract, which the space is used for juvenile probation services, and it will extend the lease for an additional 5 years through August 31st of 2027. The monthly rent increase will be 2.8%, and I'd ask for my colleagues' support moving this legislation forward. Thank you.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0300, making an award on requisition 9555 to R.L. Hill Management, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $3,974,592 for the Cuyahoga County Men's Shelter Expansion Project.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
And Mr. President, Mr. Matt Reimer from Public Works came before the committee on September 21st, 2022 to discuss this. This is 100% funded by the executive branch's ARPA funding. The RFB issued 6 responses with 2 vendors being approved. It will provide more space and better building layout for the men's homeless shelter. And I would ask for my colleagues' support on this piece of legislation.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Mr. Chair, can I have my name added?
Let's
Yeah,
add
my name too,
Councilman
Mr. Chairman.
Conwell, Councilman Sweeney. All right. Again,
Thank
all
you.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 2022-0301, amending resolution number 2020-0264, dated December 8th, 2020, which authorized an exemption from requests for proposals and made awards on requisition 3911 to various providers for financial counseling and mortgage assistance services to eligible homeowners adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic for the Mortgage Assistance Program in connection with the Community Development Block Grant Program for the period January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2022, by rescinding the award to CHN Housing Partners in the amount not to exceed $500,000, and by changing the total amount not to exceed from $2 million to $1,500,000, and by revising the resolution language regarding the project goals.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval of this legislation. Staff from the Development Department came and talked to us about how we could get a little more done with these dollars, and I recommend approval.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded, and after that recommendation from Councilwoman Stevens, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0315, confirming the county executive's reappointment of Glenn Shoemate to serve on the Cuyahoga County Citizens Advisory Council on Equity for the term July 15th, 2022 through July 14th, 2025.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Thank you. This was heard in the Human Resources Appointments and Equity Committee on Tuesday, September 20th, 2022. Laurel Roche recommended the reappointment of Glenn Shoemate to serve on the Cuyahoga County Citizens Advisory Council on Equity for the term ending July 14th, 2025. Mr. Shoemate has over 2 decades of work in construction industry, has worked on community engagement and inclusion, has experience with state, county, and local construction projects. The committee unanimously approved this recommendation for second reading adoption under suspension of the rules, and I ask for your support of this resolution.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0316, amending the 2022-2023 biennial operating budget for 2022 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations, appropriation transfers, and cash transfers.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, my colleagues, this item is a special fiscal agenda to provide appropriations for unanticipated needs in the medical examiner's office. The item was heard and recommended by Finance and Budgeting Committee. The total is $2,815,521, consisting of $1,784,000 for personnel, $695,000 for the body transportation contract, $36,500 for replacement of computer equipment, and $300,000 for medical lab supplies. Part of this cost resulted from filling vacancies, but the largest share came from having to pay more money to retain key staff and from contractual costs coming in substantially higher than expected. I recommend passage on second reading suspension.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The resolution is adopted.
Resolution 2022-0319, authorizing the vacation of a certain portion of county-owned right-of-way within Station Road located in the city of Brecksville in connection with the Cleveland Metropolitan Park improvements, setting the date, time, and place for a view, and setting the date and time and place for the final hearing in connection with said vacation.
Motion to adopt. And, Mr. President, Jessica French from Public Works came before the committee on September 21st, 2022 to discuss this. These are components of the Ohio Revised Code, which require a public viewing before vacating a piece of property. The property that we're referring to is at the corner of Station Road and Riverview in the city of Brecksville. It's 1.7 acres of county right-of-way, and the property is contiguous to Metro Parks, and the Metro Parks requested the vacation so they can add it to the usable park space. And the property here is closed to the public and not used by the county, and we will no longer have any obligation to maintain the property. It will be put to better use with the connected Metro Parks land, and I would ask for my colleagues' support on this piece of legislation.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0320, making awards on requisition 9296 to various providers in the total amount not to exceed $1,200,000 for construction management and support services commencing upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 3 years. For the following providers, contract number 2638 with Hill International, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $400,000. Contract number 2639 with Quality Control Inspection, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $400,000. And contract number 2640 with DLZ Ohio, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $400,000.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
And, Mr. President, Ms. Jessica French came before Public Works Committee on September 21st, 2022 to discuss this legislation. This involves 3 vendors that were submitted through an RFQ. All 3 were selected, and this will allow streamlined assignment of work where all 3 vendors have wide areas of expertise that can be put to immediate use by the county when quick action is needed by Public Works. I would ask for my colleagues' support on this piece of legislation.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0321, making awards on requisition 9480 to various providers in the amount not to exceed $867,000 to provide immigration and refugee services commencing upon contract signature for 3 years for the following providers. Contract number 2685 with the refugee response in the amount not to exceed $507,000, and contract number 2686 with Legal Aid Society of Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $360,000.
Move to adopt.
Second.
This matter came before the Economic Development Committee, and I think it's one in which pulls on the heartstrings of a lot of us here as far as the immigration problems throughout the world. The refugee response team works directly with 7 main groups, but the 2 that are obviously right in the forefront right now in most of our conversations are the Afghan refugees and those coming from the Ukraine. Others, they also represent. Paul Herdick brought the refugee response team to make their presentation, and he also brought the Legal Aid Society. And as the Legal Aid Society indicated, that we're guaranteed our constitutional rights to have someone defend us in a criminal matter, but not in these civil matters. And these are very detailed and a lot of legal issues going on there. And so the civil matter, they will be representing and helping these immigrants as they move along through the process and hopefully maybe someday even become U.S. citizens. So with that, I encourage my colleagues to support this.
Yes, if you could please add my name to that.
Mr. President, please add my name as well.
Mr. President, please add my name as well.
Please add Turner.
Simon.
And Sharon.
Conwell.
And Sharon.
It's all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. All those in favor say aye.
Baker, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Clerk, please add Baker to that.
Duly noted. I got everyone. Thank you. Resolution 2022-0321, making awards on, wait, hold on, I already did that one. Resolution 2022-0323, authorizing an amendment to contract number 1201 with Woolpert, Inc. for the purchase of digital oblique photography mapping in connection with the Ohio statewide imagery program. And it's for the period September 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2022, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2026, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $729,200.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, my colleagues, this resolution extends our contract with Walpert for aerial photography used for property appraisal for property taxes. The contract is extended for 4 years for $729,000. I recommend passage on second reading suspension.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0325, authorizing an amendment to contract number 2532 with Infor Public Sector, Inc. for the purchase of 88 Enterprise Asset Management Module Enterprise Edition mobile subscription licenses for the period March 1st, 2018 through February 29th, 2024, for the assignment and assumption of interest to Hexagon EAM Holdings, LLC, effective October 1st, 2021, to extend the time period to December 8th, 2026, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,482,630.38. And council members, at this time, a proposed substitute is being introduced by the department, and I will read it into the record. A resolution authorizing an amendment and consolidation for a portion of contract numbers 674 and the entire contract number 875 for maintenance and support for Enterprise Asset Management Module Enterprise Edition and mobile subscription licenses. And it's for the period October 27, 2016 through October 26, 2026 for the assignment and assumption of interest from contract number 2532 with Infor Public Sector, Inc. to Hexagon EAM Holdings, LLC, effective October 1st, 2021, to extend the time period to December 8th, 2026, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,482,630.38. And at this time, we have Janelle Green, who will speak to the item.
Andre, did we have a first and a second on the motion?
I'm going to make a motion to substitute.
Second.
Now, not the substitute, just the original motion. Was
Move
that-
to adopt.
Second.
Pause. Was there original motion? That's the part I
No,
didn't.
there haven't been any motions.
No, there wasn't at all. No motion at all.
You read the item into the record. Let's
Yes.
have a motion to adopt.
Move to adopt.
Second.
First, moved by Sweeney, by
Miller. Seconded by
By
Sweeney.
Sweeney. You had some discussion, all right. Let's take them on first. All those in favor of the motion, before we get to the proposed substitute, just all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, all in favor, opposed? All in favor, say aye. Ayes have it. All right, now,
We can amend it.
yeah, now you can go into the proposed presentation.
Good evening, Janelle Green, Department of IT. Yes, this is a very confusing item. So the creation of Contract 2532 does multiple things. First, it takes the core licenses related to EAM from the main licensing contract with Infor. That's contract number 674. Also, it combines the mobile licenses for EAM that is existing in contract 875. It combines those two to create this contract. It also transfers the interest of these items from Infor Public Sector over to the Hexagon EAM Holdings LLC, again effective October 1st of 2021. And it trues up the amount of actual EAM mobile licenses that have been in use. And it changes the end date of the agreement from 10/26 of 26 to December 8th of 2026.
Move to substitute.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I support the resolution as it will be substituted for the reasons stated by Ms. Green.
All right. All those in favor of accepting the proposed substitute, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Now, all those in favor of adopting the resolution on its merits as substituted, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Resolution 2022-0327, authorizing a grant award with Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging in the amount not to exceed $2,103,000 to support various mission activities commencing upon contract signature of all parties through April 30th, 2023.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, this contract was fully discussed in committee. This grant award will assist a workforce and home repair initiative for low-income seniors to purchase 2 ADA-equipped vans, 1 cargo van, 1 passenger van, and household resources of food and safety items for over 4,000 senior households. I ask my colleagues to support for these vital services.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Could you please add my name, Mr.
And let's
President?
add Councilman Sweeney's name.
And at this time also, we're adding Council President Jones' name as a sponsor as well.
Thank you.
Resolution 2022-0328, authorizing an amendment to a master contract with various providers for emergency assistance services for the period September 1st, 2021 through August 31st, 2022, to extend the time period to August 31st, 2023, and for additional funds in the total amount not to exceed $1,575,000 for the various providers. Contract number 1628 with AZ Furniture Co., Inc., in the amount not to exceed $315,000. Contract number 1630 with Burlington Stores, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $420,000. Contract number 1633 with Dave's Supermarket, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $125,000. Contract number 1634 with JCPenney OP Co., LLC, doing business as JCPenney, in the amount not to exceed $330,000. And contract number 1635 with West 25th Furnishings and Appliances, Inc., in the amount not to exceed $385,000, and to amend the product price list effective September 1st, 2022.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, this master contract provides furniture, clothing, food, and appliances for needy families involved with the Department of Children and Family Services. I ask my colleagues for their support.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution 2022-0329, authorizing an amendment to a master contract with various providers for the Comprehensive Case Management Employment Program, Employment, Education, and Training Services for young adults for the period April 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023, for additional funds in the total amount not to exceed $819,123 for contract number 2389 with Verge, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $0, and contract number 2390 with Youth Opportunities Unlimited in the amount not to exceed $819,123.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, as stated, this master contract was fully discussed in committee and is necessary for the continuation of comprehensive case management employment program and education and training services for our young adults in the county. I ask my colleagues for support with passage.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Mr. President, would you add my name?
Add Councilman Sweeney's name. At this time, miscellaneous committee reports. Are there any committee reports?
Mr. President.
Go on, Dale.
Councilman Miller, lead us off.
My colleagues, Finance and Budgeting Committee, will meet at our next regularly scheduled time, which is Monday, October 3rd at 1 p.m. to hear the legislation that's been referred.
Mr. President, Public Works will be held next week at its possibly at its regularly scheduled time. I'm going to have to see about scheduling, but we'll have it next week.
All right.
Mr. President, the Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee will not meet next Tuesday, but will meet on October 18th. It may meet sooner to discuss the employee handbook, but that's yet to be determined.
Any other reports?
I guess Councilwoman Caldwell will go down.
Okay, Health and Human Services will meet on Wednesday, October 5th at 1 p.m.
Councilman Schron?
He didn't have no.
No econ? It's, oh, okay, so we are meeting Education, Environment, Sustainability has a full plate on the 5th of October, Wednesday at 3 p.m. to hear the items referred today, as well as say yes to education and perhaps the water economy. So it's going to be a long committee meeting.
All right. Any other reports? In the absence of Councilman Michael Gallagher, his Public Safety and Justice Affairs Committee for October 4th at 1 p.m. will be canceled, and his space, he is ceding his space and time for the Justice Steering Committee. That will take place, our Justice Steering Committee will be meeting. All right, no other reports? Miscellaneous business.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I'd just like to say thank you to you and the council for delaying this meeting today, from yesterday to today, to allow me to observe the Jewish holidays. Thank you.
More than welcome. Very welcome. All right. If nothing else holds our attention, our meeting is now adjourned.